Zimbabwe's 290% food boom, a blueprint for African food sovereignty. A leader in handcuffs. Sarkozy's jail sentence exposes the rot. Moscow's atomic week, forging the global south's high-tech future. Madagascar's military intervenes amidst resource grab and public anger. Welcome to Panaf Echo News Roundup. Zimbabwe's 290% food boom, a blueprint for African food sovereignty. While Western media often focuses on narratives of dependency, Zimbabwe is writing a different story, one of stunning self-sufficiency. A new report reveals a record-shattering 290% surge in food crop production for the 2024-25 season. This isn't just a good harvest, it's a geopolitical statement. Here's why. The foundation of sovereignty is food security. A nation that can feed itself cannot be pressured or controlled. By producing over 2.9 million tons of cereal and targeting 6 million citizens with its own food security measures, Zimbabwe is building the most crucial pillar of independence, domestic food sovereignty. This directly counters the neo-colonial tool of using food as a political weapon. South-South cooperation in action. This success was achieved not with Western IMF loans and their conditionalities, but through favorable weather and, crucially, domestic government initiatives like the presidential borehole scheme and easing internal trade restrictions. It proves that development driven by local priorities, not external diktats, works. A multipolar success story. This boom, particularly in cash crops like tobacco, plus 15%, and cotton, plus 52%, strengthens Zimbabwe's economic hand within the global south. It provides more goods to trade with BRICS Plus partners and other non-Western nations, further integrating into a decentralized global economy and moving beyond the old, exploitative trade routes. Zimbabwe is demonstrating that the path to a truly multipolar world runs through African farms. This agricultural revolution is a powerful act of decolonization and a model for the continent. This is the kind of progress that reshapes global power. Which other African nation do you think is on a similar trajectory? Let us know below. A leader in handcuffs. Sarkozy's jail sentence exposes the rot. A seismic event has occurred in Paris. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been incarcerated to serve a prison sentence for his role in the Libyan financing of his 2007 election campaign. This is not merely a legal ruling. It is a symbolic collapse of the moral authority the West has claimed for decades. Here's the essential breakdown. 1. The ultimate hypocrisy, now undeniable. For years, France positioned itself as the purveyor of democracy and good governance to Africa, often using these concepts to justify political and even military interference. Sarkozy himself was a key architect of the NATO intervention in Libya in 2011. We now have irrefutable proof that his own rise to power was allegedly bankrolled by the very regime he later helped topple. The rules-based order was a facade for a system built on corruption and secret deals. 2. The real nature of Franco-African relations revealed. This case pulls back the curtain on the true engine of Francafrique, the system of French post-colonial influence in Africa. It was never about partnership or development. It was a cynical game where African resources and money could be used to buy political power in Paris, compromising the sovereignty of African nations for the personal gain of Western leaders. 3. A powerful symbol of Western systemic decline. The jailing of a former head of state is a sign of a system in terminal crisis. As the West's economic dominance wanes, its moral authority is imploding from within. This conviction is a gift to the global South, providing tangible proof to justify the push for a multipolar world. It vindicates every nation seeking to break free from a system led by powers that are, as proven in a court of their own, profoundly corrupt. The image of a French president in a prison cell is more powerful than 1,000 speeches. It marks the end of an era and validates the search for new, more honest partnerships in a multipolar world. This is the corruption that underpinned the old order. How does this revelation change the narrative of Western intervention in Africa? Share your thoughts below. Moscow's atomic week, forging the global South's high-tech future. Between the 26th and the 28th of September, 2025, Moscow became the undisputed capital of the future of energy. The World Atomic Week Forum wasn't just another conference. It was a strategic gathering where the technological architecture of the multipolar world is being actively built, with Africa as a central partner. Here's what actually happened on the ground. Beyond high-level speeches, the event was a hive of concrete deal-making and knowledge transfer. Key activities included the Atom Expo Business Forum, the core of the event, where hundreds of bilateral meetings took place between Rosatom and delegations from Africa, Asia, and Latin America to negotiate everything from nuclear power plant construction to joint uranium mining ventures. Focus on innovation and digitalization. Sessions detailed how artificial intelligence is used to optimize reactor safety and lifespan, and how digital twins of power plants can revolutionize maintenance and training for partner nations. Human capital development. A major emphasis was on education. Rosatom showcased its training programs and universities, aiming to create a new generation of nuclear specialists across the global south, reducing long-term dependency on Western expertise. Logistics and supply chains. Dedicated discussions focused on creating resilient, non-Western supply chains for nuclear fuel and components, a critical step for true energy sovereignty. Why this is a geopolitical game-changer for Africa. From customers to partners, African nations weren't just there as buyers. They were engaging as strategic partners in joint ventures. This shifts the dynamic from a neo-colonial client relationship to one of mutual investment and technological co-development. The full package deal. Russia is offering an integrated solution: financing, construction, fuel supply, training, and decommissioning. This one-stop-shop model is highly attractive as it bypasses the complexity and political conditions often attached to Western-backed projects. Building a non-Western tech bloc. By adopting Russian nuclear standards, digital platforms, and AI systems, participating nations are integrating into a separate technological ecosystem. This creates a long-term strategic alignment that goes far beyond simple diplomacy. The message from Moscow is clear: the West does not have a monopoly on high-tech, sustainable energy. The Global South is now actively building its own independent, technologically advanced future, and the partnership is open. This is the tangible building of a multipolar world. Which African nation do you believe will be the first to achieve energy independence through this model? Let's discuss in the comments. Madagascar's military intervenes amidst resource grab and public anger. Following mass protests over poverty and corruption, the military has intervened. Colonel Michael Randrianirina has been invited by the High Constitutional Court to lead a transitional council, dissolving the Senate and Constitution for a 2-year period. Ousted President Rajoelina, who initially came to power with military support in 2009, has refused to cede power from abroad. The deeper geopolitical context. 1. The sovereignty trap. President Rajoelina initially positioned himself as a sovereignist leader. However, the relentless pressure from Western nations and institutions often forces leaders into a corner: comply or be destabilized. The rampant corruption and the controversial sale of critical resources, like the acquisition of base resources by the US firm Energy Fuels, suggest a potential compromise of national assets under this pressure, fueling public anger. 2. A lawful reset. The military insists this is not a violent coup but a constitutional reset, citing the National Assembly's impeachment vote. Whether this holds is debatable, but it highlights a search for a legitimate mechanism to remove a leader perceived as failing the people and potentially capitulating to foreign interests. 3. The multipolar test. This transition is a critical test. Will the new military-civilian council use this reset to forge a more independent path, engaging with all international partners based on national interest? Or will it trigger a new wave of Western sanctions and isolation, as seen with the AU's swift suspension? The rejection of rushed elections suggests an intent to fundamentally restructure the system, not just change leadership. This is more than an internal power struggle. It is a symptom of the global transition. As the West's influence wanes, the battles over Africa's resources and strategic alignment are intensifying, creating immense internal volatility. Madagascar is now on the front lines of this fight for its future.
Vous savez, Madagascar, actuellement, là où nous sommes là, on est ouvert à tout le monde. On est tous azimuts. Voilà, c'est notre choix. On est ouvert, on va travailler avec tout le monde. Mais gagnant-gagnant. Et ces coopérations-là, c'est vraiment essentiel pour Madagascar. Donc, on va essayer de discuter avec eux, de débattre avec eux. D'ailleurs, la SADC est déjà là, chez nous actuellement. On va engager la négociation avec eux pour que les partenariats avec eux ne soient pas obstrués. On est en Afrique et on est fiers d'être africains.
Do you see this as a reclamation of sovereignty or a step into deeper instability? Share your analysis below. That's your news roundup. What story impacted you the most? Let us know in the comments below.
Panaf Echo, the African perspective.